I want to recount an incident that happened in London town recently. It's weird because it kind of disappeared from the news, which is a bit suspicious, but here we go. Well, I was walking my dog on Hampstead Heath the other day, which is a bit odd because I don't live very close to Hampstead Heath. It's a bit posh there, I can't really afford it. So it's quite a bit of a journey to get over there just to walk a dog. But the second problem is, I don't have a dog. But anyway, I was there. You can believe me, it's absolutely true. I was there. And walking my dog, as you do. And then my phone started buzzing. And I thought, that's another weird thing, because I don't usually bring my phone out with me. In fact, I don't even have a phone. But on this occasion, I did have a phone for some reason, and it was buzzing away in my pocket, and I tried to ignore it, but it carried on buzzing and vibrating and doing phony kind of things. And so I got the phone out, and it was a news report, and breaking news. It said breaking news. I thought, what the hell is that? So I had a look, and there were reports of this strange UAP, kind of cigar-shaped object hovering above central London, and there were pictures too, which I'll share with you now. So I looked at these pictures, and there was this fuzzy cigar-shaped object, kind of reddish kind of colour, and it was above the Shard, which is a big building in London, which looks like a shard of glass, strangely, And then it was seen over the Walkie Talkie building, which is another really weird building. We seem to have a lot of them in London, and people say it looks like a walkie talkie. And then, even more, it then passed over the Gherkin. Now, I don't know if you know what a gherkin is. Some people call them pickles. A gherkin is like this baby cucumber that's been in a jar, and this building looks like a gherkin, So we call it the Gherkin. And back in the day, we used to call gherkins wallies. We also used to call stupid people wallies as well. That term seems to have gone out of fashion somewhat. But there it was, hovering over the Gherkin. And then, even more, maybe dangerously, it was seen above Parliament itself. Now, it was night time, so the only people in Parliament were drunken MPs getting sloshed on taxpayers' money and chatting about, backhanders they might be getting off of God knows what corporations and devilish governments around the world. But they had to evacuate. Oh, they were very worried. They all took off in their horse and carts and carriages and bicycles and stuff like that, and they all ran away. By the way, Parliament's famous for having Big Ben, the big clock, and I just want to state here that Big Ben is not named after the famous animated character Mr. Benn, and Mr. Benn is well worth looking at if you want a good time travelling yarn, not yow. Yow's a key. There's also a university, not yarn. Anyway.
Mr. Benn was soon in the changing room and quickly took off his clothes and put on the space outfit. He looked at himself in the mirror. Then he looked for the other door, the door that always led to adventures. Mr. Benn didn't hesitate. He walked straight through the second doorway and found himself inside a spaceship.
So with all this commotion going on, I thought, I'll go up Hampstead Hill, I'll climb up the hill and take the dog with me to see if I can see it for myself with my own eyes, as you would. because you can see London very well from the top of Hampstead Hill. So I started climbing up the hill, but my dog wouldn't come with me, and I said, come on Rover, like fucking get a move on, man. And he was going, and he's not having it at all. So I picked him up and I fucking threw him in the lake. So I scampered up the top of the hill, and up the top of the hill there was a small crowd gathering, and we could see in the distance this fuzzy cigar shaped UAP object thing in the sky. It was the sky was clear, you couldn't see a star or a cloud. It was just like black, just black as Newgate's knocker. It was just darkness, except for this cigar-shaped fuzzy object. And I looked around at the crowd to see if they were seeing what I was seeing, and they were seeing what I was seeing, but they were of a very small stature, these people around me. And I thought, what, are they children? No, not children, they're adults, but they're very short, and it's kind of like all in proportion, but very short, like maybe half my size. And I'm thinking, that's a bit odd, isn't it? It's kind of, what's going on there? So I thought, looking away from the very small people, back to the focus of what we're all looking at, and yeah, sure enough, this big cigar-shaped object was slowly coming towards us, and I thought, my God, like, what's going on here? It's coming towards us, and it was big as a multi-story block of flats, apartments, kind of, not a really big one, but kind of medium-sized one, maybe even a small big one, or a big small one. Anyway, it was coming, and it turned vertically like a Saturn V rocket, but not like a Saturn V rocket, but like a Saturn V rocket, and it came down very slowly, still fuzzily, into the park right at the bottom of the hill on which we were standing. It was an amazing thing, and then suddenly the fuzzy, red fuzziness started to coalesce, kind of thing, and it gradually took shape, and then boom, it just appeared, and it was sitting there on the grass at the bottom of the hill, and it was indeed a giant cigar. And then what happened, there was like this pack of red Marlboro, a really big pack, like, you know, it would have been as big as a house, appeared in front, and it didn't have a government warning, so that obviously it had come from another planet, because there was no government picture of dying people on the front. It was one of those old style red Marlboro packs, you know, that the cowboys used to smoke before they got lung cancer and died. And it appeared, and it was open, so someone had been smoking them, but God, it must have been a giant. But it wasn't over, because we were still standing there, me and all the little people, and suddenly a misty fog appeared, a misty fog everywhere. It was all misty and foggy, because misty is misty and foggy. And that was there, and that was weird. And then out of it, a big face started looming from the sky. A big face started forming, and it was a roundish kind of face, kind of a chubby baby kind of face, but older. And I thought, oh, is that Orson Welles? Because I like Orson Welles. He was great. He was, especially on talk shows, great guy, great actor, great director, great hat, you know. And no, it wasn't him. No, there was no hat. It was like, my God, it was Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill appeared almost godlike out of this misty fog, and he was smiling away and puffing on his cigar, because he always had a cigar. Sometimes he had a cigar and a bottle of whiskey in his mouth at the same time, but he just had this big cigar, and we were all like gobsmacked, and we were all like looking, going, wow, you know, it's Winston Churchill. Was he going to do a speech? But he didn't do a speech. He was just there. Was he there because of a cigar-shaped object, or did he want it? What was it? What was that all about? Oh, but it wasn't over yet, because what happened next was really weird. A kind of flying saucer came into view, kind of opposite where Winston Churchill's face was, and it was hovering there. And that wasn't the end, because then a cup came. It came right at the bottom of the hill in front of the cigar, and it was a giant cup, and I think the giant cup was looking for the flying saucer, because they were the same kind of colour and made of the same material, so it looked like. And I was thinking, well, what is a saucer without a cup? Well, it's a very small plate, I guess, but what is a cup without a saucer? Well, it's still a cup, but it's not really complete without the saucer, is it? And so I think that was looking for the saucer, and the saucer had run away and it was flying around. And it got even worse because suddenly Godzilla appeared and was enraged. He came stomping into view and he looked up the hill at me and all the little people, and I was still wondering, what are these little people doing? I wasn't sure, but they were there and they all shrieked in horror and ran away, and I shrieked in horror too and ran away because Godzilla was marching up the hill and he's going to squish us, man, with those big feet and kind of a boxer. So I don't know what he was going to do, but that was really weird. But it wasn't over, because then a thermonuclear device took off out of the cup. Where that was going, God only knows, you know. But then I got a revelation. I felt this calmness as I was running to the very top of the hill and Godzilla was chasing us and everyone was shrieking. I got this revelation and I thought, yeah, I didn't take my medication today, did I? Yeah, God damn it. So I turned around and I looked at Godzilla in the eye, or kind of in the knee, or wherever it was. I looked at him and said, well, you're not there, are you? And I walked straight through him down the hill, straight through Godzilla. And I went to the lake and retrieved my non-existent dog who had been struggling in the water, and he was relieved that I retrieved him, of course, because he was drowning basically. But you know, I don't drown non-existent dogs unless I really have to, you know. And so we set off home, and I walked straight through the cigar as well, and I put two fingers up to Winston Churchill and said, well, thanks a lot, Winnie, and thanks for the experience, guys, and you know, thanks for listening and thanks for watching, and I'll see you about.
This is BBC One.